Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Uh, Today's video we are going to talk about in continuation of the entity framework series on Apple Macintosh or Apple Silicon, and we are going to discuss about more about the read methods. I did show you out how you actually could read the data, but let's talk more about different syntaxes that we could use in entity framework for reading of the data. There are normally two kinds of syntax that you could use within entity framework. One is the LINQ methods. LINQ is technically language integrated query system, just like an ORM mapper. So LINQ methods are more like the first one, where you specify .where method and then you use lambda operators to actually do that stuff. And then the LINQ query style is more likely where you are actually specifying in the form of a query, where you select your columns and specify a condition and then get that data. So let's stay tuned and then get back on the actual practical and see how these two methods could be actually used. So friends, the first method, that is the LINQ methods operator, where you use any method like where or include. We have already used that. I demonstrated in the previous videos where we are using first or default method out there. Or you could also use include method. That's one of the methods which you could use. But let's say if you want to use, for example, let's say we'll copy that and we want to use the query kind of a method, LINQ query method, rather than the method itself. So read, let's say, data with query method. So for example, we just want to use that. Now how we are going to do that here is we are going to change a little bit in the form of our syntax. Now the syntax which we use here is, let's say, we'll say result dpts, and I just want to get all the departments and then db context.dbt. So rather than writing in this style, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the syntax of like query style from, I say, C or let's say D in, I'll say, context db context.dpts. What I want to use is where d dot, let's say, d name, or let's say d dot department number is equal to 10. So that's what I'm gonna use here, or let's say it is equal to 10. And then what I'm going to do here is we are going to use, okay, so if you want to specify that particular one, then what you specify is the another one, which is you do a select and what you want to select out. So let's say you want to select out all the projection of columns. So you say c dot dname, let's say d dot dname, and then d dot department number. So we'll just select in the form of order, and d dot department name and d dot location. So that's how you get that. LOC, that's my location. So that's there. From D is a variable which is gonna go into that and then possibly select out all the values out here. And then finally we'll just use it, let's say, okay, so that's done. Just remove it out, we don't need it over here. And then we'll say variable, rather than dpts, we'll say results underscore dpts, right? So we'll go into that for each variable department, and then it's expected there is one semicolon which is missing, and d dot department number is equal to 10. Okay, now here if we want to go and check it out, so let's check back. So dpt dot, we just want to display that department number, so which looks fine, and then copy that, paste it. I don't want to display the employees, that's already, we have tried it out, it looks fine. And then we'll just close this out, and then department name, and then finally location, right? So that's the location. So this is ID, this is name, this is location. And then finally, if you want to test that method, so read data with query method, and we'll just try to run that. and let's see if we could run it out. So I'll just clear it, .NET watch run. So when I run that, it tries to build it, and if everything looks fine, it should be actually getting it says the type of the expression in the select clause is not right. Now let's check back why it is saying where D is this. Okay, that's fine. And then finally we are saying D dot D name. That kind of all looks fine here from D in DB context DPTs, where department number is equal to 10, and this is an operator. Okay, and then finally select new of, oh oops, I'm sorry, I've just changed that brackets. It has to be curly bracelets, which is fine. Now if we go with that and hello world, and finally it gives me detail about that particular, so department number is 10, accounting, and New York. So that's how it goes. So now let's say if I don't specify the where condition, I just close that out, it actually would give me all the departments out here. So department number 10, accounting, New York, and then 20, research Dallas, 30, sales Chicago, and so on. So that's one of the methods we could use. Now this is a different method, more likely kind of a query based method rather than using a where method or a include method or something like that, right? So that's what we could use out here. Now the where condition which we have used is technically in a different way. So you could use it in a multiple ways, whether you like it in this format or you like it like using first or default or includes or whatever. Now there could be one more method where you don't actually use this but rather write a raw query. So what we'll do is we'll just copy this method, and I'll show you a last method where you could actually use a raw query within that. So I'll copy that, paste it out here, and we would use a read data with RawSQL query. Now that's what we are going to use. Now the RawSQL query is a method. Actually we could use it out here. So what we'll use is, so we'll use dpts dot, I'll say SQL, that could be there, and let's say from SQL, and we'll use, let's say select, I'll say star from dpt. Now I could use it technically this one also, like the way, or let's say we'll use from from SQL raw, right? And then I'll pass on this, and then finally it gives me the result set, or let's say first, or let's say to list. I'll just go with the list because I just need all the methods out here, and I don't need this one because I'm actually using all that stuff here. And then what I'm doing is from a query body must match, so where we are doing something context dot dpts from RawSQL, which is fine. It should, okay, let's say dot off, and it should be in the form of a iQueryable dpt. Okay, so because it's gonna give it, let me try out in the another way. I'll just try out first or default. Let's give it a try. It also gives us an issue in that, and the issue is not here, rather this one. So db context dot that. So rather than doing this, so we'll just use to list, so because I need all the methods. And then finally, so what we are doing is we are saying select star from dpt. Now this is a technically a raw SQL we are using, so we are using a from SQL raw, and then you could use like joins or anything within that. And then fine, once the result is there, you could actually use those results, type it out, and let's see if it works. Now in order to make sure this works, so I'll just use read data with the RawSQL query, and I'll just invoke this method, save it, it restarts it automatically, and finally you get the result, the same result. So it's purely your choice which kind of a method you want to use, whether you want to use a RawSQL or you want to use a LINQ method or you want to use a query style within the LINQ method. Purely depends upon your choosing and your way of writing the code. I hope, guys, this kind of helps you out in specifying certain conditions or how you project your columns or even running raw SQL queries within entity framework. In the next videos, we'll start talking about the other CRUD operations like creation, deletion, and update, the last three parts of the CRUD operation. So stay tuned, and I'll be coming back with more videos. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe it. Thank you.